I'll go through this first assignment from start to finish. So we'll go new, check the units, it's English units. I'm going to do a standard inch IPT, create. I'll go to my sketch tab, start a 2D sketch, choose a plane. Remember, you can choose any plane, it doesn't matter. Then I'm going to use the line tool to make the sketch. And again, don't worry about the dimensions, just try to get the general shape of the object. And I'm going to try my best to get the lines horizontal and vertical. If not, I'll just come back and adjust those as needed. Now it really doesn't matter where you are relative to, right click and say OK, relative to the origin, but we will put some dimensions on there to fully constrain it, because again the lines are all purple, which means it's not fully constrained. So next I'm going to add the dimensions, and because I just sketched the shape, I don't have any actual sizes on there yet. Just hitting enter after I put each dimension in. So I've got the dimensions all on there, but everything's purple because it's not fully constrained yet. I will add some dimensions to locate it relative to the origin. Now everything's black because it's fully constrained. This object does have a hole in it as well. Is a hole that's 1 inch in diameter. Everything's black, so I'll finish the sketch. Then I'm going to go to my 3D model tab, click on extrude, and then choose the area that you want to extrude. So this is the area that's in color now, is the one, I could choose that. That's the only other area. And the software is just going to a default value of 1 inch. This part's actually going to make it 1/2 inch thick. See, it doesn't matter, you can go toward you or away from you, it doesn't really matter. Say OK. So there's my model. If you hold down the shift key and your middle mouse button, you can rotate it around and see what the model looks like. Now I'm going to do a save as. And this is page 145, exercise 1. Save it. Now I'm going to put it on the drawing sheet. So I'll go File, New, and I'm going to choose Drawing. It's an ANSI inch drawing, and say Create. And drawing sheet's going to pop up. Unfortunately, the default is a D size. A D size is a 24 by 36 inch piece of paper. It's way too big for this part that is 3 inches long. So what we're going to do each time is we're going to set the sheet size. If you go to Drawing Resources, Sheet Formats, and if you double click on B and say OK, see it'll put on a B size paper. So B is 11 by 17. It's much more appropriate. The software will try to figure out what it thinks is the best view. I'm just going to delete that. So go up here to base and say OK, and it's going to put a view on the page again. Now that's just what the software thinks is the right one. Let's edit that view. So you'll notice what you can do is, see that red box that pops up, if you put your cursor inside there and right click, these different menus will pop up. I'm going to click on Edit View, and several things are going to show up. Primarily I want to look at this cube, and if you click on, now even though that says front view, that's not really the front view I'm looking for. If you click on this arrow, it'll spin the model around until you get what you want. Now I'm going to choose that one because it gives you a much better right side view. Once you've established that, just move your cursor over, click, that'll be the right side view, cursor up, click, that'll be the top view. And since we have a 3D model, let's put it over here in the upper right hand corner. So you're going to click, right click and say OK, and that'll complete your drawing views. And you'll notice it already has the hidden lines on there. We'll have to go in and add dimensions, and we'll do that under Annotate, Dimension Tool. Now the dimensions here are going to show up because obviously we're going to print this out, and it's going to show up. So you want to use good dimensioning practices. The dimensions on the sketch, we don't really care about that so much because that's just for construction techniques. And again, follow the basic rules. For example, don't crisscross dimensions, don't dimension to hidden lines, those kinds of things. Still have the same concerns with good dimensioning practices. In this case, when you have dimensions like this, try to line them up. And let's see, what else do we have? This one here. I know I'm putting almost all the dimensions on this front view. Let's dimension the thickness here. I need the dimension on the circle. So this dimension tool is pretty clever. If you click on a circle, it knows that it's looking for a diameter. You just have to pull it out and locate it. Now we still need to locate where the hole is. And if you go to the outside of the circle and come back in, it'll find the center for you. And if you want to move your dimensions, just click on them and drag them so you can put them in a better spot. Now notice there's no center mark there. The center mark tool is up here. So with dimensioning, we're in this Annotate tab. Right over here is the center mark tool. If you just click on the circle, it'll put the center marks on. Now notice we're missing the center lines. So if you use this tool up here, and what you're going to want to do is click on the two edges. Like that's one edge of the hole, and that's another edge. It'll put the center line on there. That's the top of the hole, and that's actually the bottom. It lines up with that edge there, and that'll put this center lines on there. And then lastly, I think I have everything. Lastly, we'll want to put our name. Just use text. Come in here in the title and draw a text box. So it's kind of like PowerPoint or Word. It creates a text box. And we'll do the same things we've been doing before. Put your name, the course number, and then page number, problem number. 45, exercise 1. Say OK. And then we'll just save that. So I'm going to do a save as. Oops, I already saved it once, so I can just do a save. The other thing that we can do is export this as a PDF, and that's the way I'm going to collect your assignments is through a PDF. So instead of doing save, do export PDF. You can use the same name, put it in the same folder. It'll save it as a PDF file. And then you can email that to me as an attachment, and that's what I'm going to grade.